Hello, man. Hello, Mgtow. It's late night, early Thursday morning. Ooh, there goes my light just fell. That's great. Hello, man. Hello, Mgtow. Late night, early Thursday morning. Ooh. There we go. Let's get everything in order. Just figured I'd come on. I was just kind of curious what would happen if I came on a late night, Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. Talked about Mgtow. Couldn't sleep, I guess. And just want to talk a little about Mgtow. Gynocentrism. We see it all the time. Gynocentrism is the propensity to err on the side of a female. It has nothing to do with females. But if you look up gynocentrism in Wikipedia, um, gynocentrism is filtered through the female filter. It's filtered through the female. Everything gets filtered. I think Barbarossa said it more correctly when he says everything gets filtered through the female. It has to be approved by the female. Gynocentrism is like that. Everything we men do, we hey Phil, it's just a late night. I figured some people will be up, some people won't, and usually maybe we'll talk about sleep habits later and stuff like that. So today we're going to talk about gynocentrism a little, and it's gynocentrism is really misunderstood by people, the blue pill people and the purple pill people, and people in the matrix. They don't understand it at all, and I see it a lot. When I see it, it's always, oh, that's gynocentrism. It's the propensity for the male to err on the side of a female with everything they do, and that means even anti-feminism is feminism. Somehow you have to err on the side of the female or argue with the females. You're still involving yourself in that feminism process. You become a part of that group by involving yourself in it. So that's gynocentric. Hello, swine dog. Hello, everybody that's still awake on this late night. So in every act we do, and I see that with the video I made last night, it always the abortion thing. The abortion thing bothers me, and when I talk about abortion, I talk about male rights in abortion, and male rights. We talk about male rights to financially abort and things like that. And I put it like forced fatherhood. Forced fatherhood is, but when other men and blue pill men look at that, they go, well, what do you have to do with abortion? I says, I have nothing to do with abortion. I have nothing to do with the female body, but the law excludes men from this process. You can't have a gender bias law that excludes men from the ability to do the same thing a female would do. And that's make a choice not to be a mother. You can't make a choice not to be a father. Oh God, they go, you're a deadbeat dad. They make up pejoratives for us, deadbeat dads, and they do that with welfare mothers, all women. And I don't think all women that, well, I don't know about the percentage of that, but you're deadbeat dad. You're not paying into the welfare system. And then on the other end, it's so. The people that do this, you have deadbeat dad on one side. On the other end of the spectrum, you got to think about these things logically. You have welfare mothers, the males that are paying into the system to take care of the welfare mothers are equally wrong. So it's a process within the system that's reciprocal of itself. And that's gynocentrism. It's all for taking care of the female. It's all for, they can call it whatever they want. I'll just call it sexual cryptis, because I know in every man, that's what's in our DNA and everything. But it's gynocentrism is what it is. Everything gets filtered through the female. Every thought gets filtered through the female. When you argue a point, it always has to be from a female point of view. Like when I talk about abortion, most people, I go over on the left pages a lot to talk about it, because that's where the people that that don't understand it. The pro-life abortion people, the anti-abortion. Well, I don't know if they're pro-choice. So they want to talk pro-choice, and I say I'm pro-choice too. I say I'm pro-male choice because I can't look at it anywhere else. I talk about males. I talk about male problems. When I talk about males with suicide, I talk about male suicide. And then I always hear some jackass going, "Oh, well, females are committing suicide at a higher rate now." And then I think, well, that's gynocentrism, because you can't get your mind off of that. You can't get your mind. Every single thing in life has to be filtered through uh, the female, whatever it is. And it drives me nuts. It makes me crazy when I see it. And can we ever just talk about men? Can we ever talk about men's needs? Can we ever talk about just being a Mgtow, just being happy-go-lucky single guy that just wants to get through this world? And then it's always back to, why do we have to, it's always back to those bees, those bitches, it's like, and that's gynocentrism in itself. They have to bring them back into the fold so we can have something to talk about, because that's the only thing they ever talk about is, and I think, oh, well, that's gynocentrism in itself, bringing them back in the fold. No Mgtow should. I was given Mayor of Mgtow a dollar bill, $1 every time I said the F word for a while, and that's the feminism word, because that was gynocentrism. I was somehow bringing them back into the fold, like it mattered to anything. Once you get to be a Mgtow, nothing they do matters to me at all anymore. That's how you break yourself of that habit. But in this world, gynocentrism is prevalent, and it's the propensity to err on the side of a field. Every topic, you guys can see it. I know you guys can see it when you look at just type in men's rights, fathers against divorce or something, and you'll get 30 articles about why mothers should get divorced, or why mothers, and it'll make you crazy. Any topic you type in, any male topic you type in will be filtered through the female lens. It'll be filtered through some female thing that I could probably do it right now and show you 10 different topics that, yeah, I mean, I bet you 10 to 1, if you type in prostate cancer, that you're going to get breast cancer. I'll bet you right now that if you typed in prostate cancer and prostate cancer funding, you would get the pink ribbon and breast cancer funding, and that's gynocentrism. So, and I think it's the female voice. I talked about the female voice. Men just want to hear everything from a female voice, so it's softer and it's more gentle. And we notice that in here. If a male says something, it's I don't know. It's all. But if a female says it, all the guys, we've seen that. I think Phil and I, sexual cryptis is key. Well, sexual cryptis is really important for a Mgtow to know, and it explains everything in life. It explains why we have political battles, why there's the left, why there's the right. It explains everything about Mgtow. It explains everything about females. But if you type in sexual cryptis, the sociologists and the scholars have did gynocentrism in that, and they turned it to sexual. They turned it to what? How do they put that? A cryptic sexual choice by females. But do that. Type in sexual cryptis, and then you'll get 30 articles about cryptic sexual choice females, which are totally two different things. But if you're new to the subject of sexual cryptis and what it is and everything, you're going to look at cryptic sexual choice. And I see the men make this mistake once in a while when they're doing their study and their Mgtow study, and then they go into on Google. And Google will give them cryptic sexual choice, which is totally different. It has nothing to do with sexual cryptis. Sexual cryptis is simply that the female hides her fertility, and in hiding her fertility, all the men in the community think that the baby's his, and all the men that's natural for a female in any kind of caveman situation. that would play out in a community where all the men take care of the babies, and it's kind of instinctively inside of us. And but it's funny how sociologists work on those things. We're not allowed to say that. Where there's not going to be no in-depth study on why females hide their fertility. And with apes, we can see this. And there's only a few creatures that actually do it. I think some birds do it and humans do it. I think apes are not sexual cryptists. They do the lordosis thing when the females will extend their behinds and present it to the male when they're in the smell and the whole thing they show when they're fertile. But it goes back to us being we're being fooled, we're being tricked, we're being lied to in life. If a boy wanted to find out information on that, he would get automatically sent down the line of sexual female choice, which is not as interesting, and it gives you no it lies you it's gynocentrism in action. When they do that, it has to, even sexual cryptis has to be aired through the female to be approved somehow how we're going to think about that. Gynocentrism is a son of a bitch, and I think it's a misunderstood thing in a lot of the new Mgtows, and they don't understand how it works. It has nothing to do with a female. Mgtow in general, everything that we do has nothing to do with it. And we try to say that over and over and over. It has everything to do with you as a male, your choice, what we're going to do, how we're going to manage life. We go into detail on health. We go into detail on a lot of things, and then somehow it makes its way back to female topics, like sexual cryptis does, and sexual female choice, and all that stuff. And I got to hear it, and we all got to hear it, and everything. So hello, Phil. Hello, Swine Dog. Hello, Adam. Kyle Adams. Feminists do everything they can do to shut us down. Yeah. They want the choices. They want everything on a male's mind. When I was in school, I always questioned that. It was we talk about things, and we talk about generally, when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, my testosterone started running, and I was involved with that. And you could see it very clearly on boys when they start talking. Everything will go back to the female. We never lose that as men. We never lose that every topic that comes out. But what about a girl? What about this? What about that? Mgtow gives you the choices outside of that. And they want you to have an understanding that's what gets us in trouble. That's what gets us so tied up in those relationships. That's what gets us, that's what makes us easy prey for those traps that we talk about. And we are easy prey when you're running around with that on your mind 24/7, like a drunken college frat boy. You fall prey easily to female misconduct, to theft, to manipulation. And I think every man has experienced that in his life. I used to talk about how it happens a lot too, and my mind always goes back to the old cell phone. Every guy, and when he's a young man, the first thing he does is the girl will go, "Oh, you can call me, but I don't have a cell phone." So he runs out and starts paying that cell phone bill for her, and keeps that going. And then when she leaves, she takes the cell phone, and he continues paying the cell phone bill because he bought her the expensive one. And that goes with cars, stuff like that. Whatever you're going to co-sign, be prepared. If you're going to co-sign something like that, be prepared to pay for it. I spilled my ashtray before, and it's everywhere. It just pisses me off when I do that. But gynocentrism, and even in Mgtow, it starts to bother me when I see it. It always has to be about that. It can never be about us. With the abortion thing, that's been, close to all my topics lately. And I start talking about it, and it's always pulled back to, well, females get abortions. I says, no, this I'm talking about male rights to abort, to male right to abort that situation, to say, I don't want to be a father. We don't have that right in our Constitution. They and well, I guess it would be in our Constitution. They eliminated the pronoun male in there. Some states even went as far as I think Ohio was one of the states that used to have it, where for a short period of time, and then it was struck down that you had to ask the father if before abortion would happen, and then that was struck down immediately by the Supreme Court. And I got to wonder why it was struck down so immediately. It was giving the men their choice for the first time ever whether they wanted to be a father or not. And nowadays, I don't think any man wants to really be a father, because that's involved with marriage, and then they hook that together with marriage, and then they get you trapped in that marriage program with a contract that forever you're going to be trapped with that contract, or at least 18 years, and that's going to ruin your life. But that's the same consideration they were giving females for abortion. It was like, well, if she has a baby and she's not ready to have a baby and she doesn't want to be a mother, she'd be a horrible mother and it would ruin her life. How can we accept that? How can we sat there for years, 20, 30, 40 years, and we accepted that for females, and we never asked that question for us? How many males' life has that ruined because they didn't have choice? It seems absurd to them when you even mention it to the blue pill people. It seems absurd to them that male choice would you're supposed to be stoic. You're supposed to, I'm for that. I want to do that. I want to give everything. I want to suffer bad. No, men don't want to suffer bad. Most men don't want I don't say most men, a lot of men do want that, but there's a certain proportion of our society that, well, no, that would ruin my life. That would keep me from going to college. And I've seen plenty of guys that if they had that choice in their life, I knew a college young man lived right around here. He was a wide receiver for Iowa State. Gonna go to the NFL. Met a 35-year-old. I would call predator. She was probably beautiful, and then she was preying around the college campuses for young athletes, and I suppose she was probably really good looking. I did see one picture of her, but I can't remember what she exactly looked like, and she was beautiful. And he had a set of twins within the next year, his last senior year of college. Also, there's support payments. He never finished school. The football team said, if you're not going to pay your child support, you can't play football here. Yeah, he was in college when he was doing that. How can he work 60 hours a week and stay in college and play football? You can't do it. So essentially, his life was ruined. His life was ruined there, and nobody ever asked him a question. Now, hey, maybe that'll ruin the young man's life. I know a lot of men that had their life ruined like that. Most of us guys are really industrious. We're set out to do big things in this world. One of the things that really ruin our lives is pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy. How many more men would have, those great positions if that didn't happen? I know I would have. If at one point when I got home from the Army and I was working for the company I was working for, and through the military, a military contractor, I was offered to go to Boca Raton, and at that time it was a military school. They said you can get a scholarship, you can go to the military school, you can get your degree and everything, and we would promote that and pay for it. And I said, heck yeah, that's what I want to do. But when at that time I was married a year, and they said, oh no, you can't go do that. We're going to have children and blah, blah, blah. And well, yeah, we did that, and it ruined my life. And it took years and years and years of struggle for me, absolute horror and struggle, to get any kind of education after that. A course here, a course there, a course here, a course there. I took more More of those fake courses than anybody in the world, I guess. Go to a seminar, get a few credits, go to a seminar here. I was on that seminar list. Hey, whatever seminar there is, I want that. But yeah, that's how your life ends up because you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice. And I think it's important for men to have a choice. Uh, but gynocentrism inhibits that because when you say that to a blue person, it doesn't register. It's got, well, what about the women? Well, we're talking about female abortion, aren't we? And I says, well, there's two people there, and it's going to affect both their lives. But men aren't important. You guys are disposable. We can always find more of you. Baby mamas pump little boys out all the time now. They got a baby mama mill pumping little boys out. We're disposable. That's what it seems like they were saying to us. And I know, no, my life is important to me. I value every one of your lives in here. I value every one of your decisions, what you want to do with your life, and and it makes me happy when I hear the boys like Shingles. He's doing it. He's going for it. He went to college. He got everything done. He didn't involve himself with the females, and hence he never got hemmed up in life. I mean, and then we hear the other side of the stories, and you got to ask yourself, how'd you get hemmed up? How'd that happen? Well, I decided to do what they told me to do. I decided to do it because they said everything was going to work out if I did it this way. If I went to school and I got a girlfriend and I dated and I got married and we had children, and then while I'm doing that I go to college, but that doesn't seem to work out that way anymore. Just doesn't seem to work out that more. There's more risk than ever before. If that thing ends, you got a little kid, your degree is gone. Whatever you were thinking, if you're a baseball player, that's gone. If you're a football player, that's gone. Look at who's that that football player that was in Cleveland? RG3. RG3 had that happen to him. And he's arguing about the amount of the unreasonable amount. He married a little girl from Maple Heights that her mother did the same thing, married a football player, divorced him, got that, had her, and then she showed her how to do that, and that wasn't obvious. That wasn't obvious to the judge that was well, this is just a trap you guys got going here. This is he was all aboard for that. 200, 300, 400,000 a year, whatever it was, and now he has no career. I mean, we'll all plan for the best in this thing, but the world has plans for you. Seven viewers. I thought this would be a little more popular because the night, Thursday night, I just thought there would be more people awake, but maybe I was wrong. Gynocentrism, sleep habits. Sleep habits are funny. Sometimes I know everything there is to know about poor sleep habits. I've been to 3 sleep clinics in my life, and then it just when I was a kid, I never slept, and I was always I never slept. I went to 3 sleep clinics when I was a kid, and then I went to another sleep clinic later in life, and finally somebody said something to me was just it just kind of struck me. He says do the same thing. I was talking to a counselor once about the sleep my sleep habits and everything, and he says, do the same thing every night. Have a cup of tea, take a shower, sit down, watch the movie, and your body will get as much sleep as it needs. And once I stopped stressing it, I started sleeping. That was weird. Free will is questioned, and the answer is, why do people believe in God and choice, etc., etc.? Yeah, free will. Why do people believe in God? I was having some thoughts about that today. A lot of men get married after after unplanned pregnancy. They feel that they feel that they just have to do that thing. It would be honorable, the honor in society. You're going to do the honorable thing. Why don't we have a choice that just says, "Hey, I'm not ready to be a father. I'll make a horrible father. I want to just financially abort at this time. I want to do Moses laws for men." Even though Moses was a man. Which seems absurd to me, but no, I need to do everything I need to do in life before I can do that, and it will ruin my life, which it did. And I have three, 5 children, 3 with one woman, 2 with others, but hey, I wish I wouldn't have made that choice, and but it all comes down to what we're taught. What we're taught, they start that at an early age, just pumping us full of those Disney dreams, those Pixar dreams. You get you're gonna get everything's gonna work out if you just do what the Christian society tells you to do. Grow up, go to school, get a job, get married. Get married is always in there. That's a horrible decision nowadays. Yeah, Christianity. Christianity is funny. My thought was today is when I became my own God. I said it was like I had a thought about that about God. Why doesn't God have any friends? that's, that's Yeah, so there was a whole thought process, and our God doesn't have any friends. He doesn't like anybody. Don't worry about it. You're going to get yours too. The Christians think that he's your friend. He's your personal friend. No, he's not. He has no friends. Chaos has no friends. The ultimate, yes, Steve. It's the ultimate con job. It's the ultimate con. He's a jealous God. Yeah, you hear that all the time too. He's a jealous God. They always got excuses from why why does God always err on Christian side too? It's like he believes everything you believe. That's weird. Yes, God believes everything you believe, and he always agrees with you. Wow, that's incidental because I'm such a good person. That's what I used to think with that. Must be coincidental because or incidental to it because I'm a good person and God always agrees with me. Um, but no, nowadays, I just God has no friends, and people don't understand that one. So gynocentrism. You would think God was a gynocentric God too. He's always every a lot of those stories were written about the women and what they shouldn't be doing and everything and how they should just excuse the shit out of me. I was drinking some of these zero sugar. I actually just got back from my bike ride. I took 3 bike rides today. It was such a beautiful day. It was raining in between, but when the sun shined, I would just grab the bike and run out there and do a bike ride. And because it was just so nice these last couple of days. We're gonna have a beautiful day tomorrow night. I think Friday is gonna be 72 and sunny. God, I love that. I'm gonna go down to the park, 72 and sunny. My son went for a vacation down in South Carolina. He called me earlier. He says, Dad, it's hot. It's 100 degrees in the South. I do feel sorry for anybody that's in the South right now. 100 degrees it is unfathomably hot with this moisture. It's like now you know what it feels like in Cleveland on a summer day with that moisture. 100 degrees and hot. It's not great, but we're gonna enjoy some really nice 70 degrees along. I hope we have a long summer of 70, 77 degree days and sunny. Sugar-coated it with romance. Yeah, romance. Romanticism was horrible for people. The era of romanticism. It was a lie. It was a lie. Yeah, so I figured I'd just come on here late at night and do a late night and see if anybody's around. And married people are pathetic. Look at the married values. His channel sucks. Oh, married values. Yeah, yeah. Married men in Mgtow. I can't remember why I was upset. It was just Mgtow this morning was just bothering the living bejeebers out of me. I think I was when I was watching in the morning. Then I went and did my thing, came back, and now I'm in for the night. But it was just bothering everything. Everything has to be run through the female. Everything has to be. What about them feminists? What are those? Well, let's just go over and we'll fight with the feminists. We'll fence with our plastic swords and we'll defeat them. And I'm like, that ain't enough duct tape in the world to fix that problem. They got scientists right down. We got duct tape right around the corner. The national, we have the right in. They have the duct tape festival here too. That's I can pretty much drive to it every year. The duct tape festival. They have a scientist down there working on how much duct tape they would need to fix the female problem, and they still haven't come up with an amount. Again, there ain't enough in the world to fix that. You don't even try. Unless they make pink, they'll go all gynocentric. We fixed it. We made pink duct tape. Good way to manage it is to make people accountable for their offspring via marriage. A good way to manage this is to make people accountable of their offspring via marriage. Make people get married. Well, that's what they do now. That makes for horrible parents. People that don't want to be parents make horrible parents. And then we'll have horrible kids. And then somewhere during that, there'll be a horrible divorce, and nobody ever, who makes money then? Health and Human Services and lawyers. And no, we have to have more male choice in this. The only way this thing is going to work, and I've come to believe that the only way this is going to work is to give men the choice to abort. Because once men start to abort, you have a choice of there'll be more accountability for their activities. And I know the men were like, oh, hey, we won't have as much sex. And that's all most men are worried about. Most of the alt-righters that are in here, all they want is for a slave. They want a sex slave. And you can see them, they fuck dolls. Anybody that would do that is just deviant. And yeah, so they just want sex slaves, and if they had it up to them, they would kill off all the other men in society, and then they would have their choice of females, and they pray for the zombie apocalypse because somehow they believe in their minds that this is going to fix the problem, and girls are going to get back in the kitchen. Genie's out of the box on that one. There ain't no putting them back in the kitchen anymore. And we're going to have to deal with it. But I do think the cure for this is if you want to have females act accountable and responsible, give men choice to abort. And that would be a volunteer position. Fatherhood would be a volunteer position. And you can unvolunteer at any point for that if she starts acting like an ass. And that is the only cure for that. But that's about this much likely to happen because they know that would cure that. And as for their programs, this thing forcing women, it seems so hypocritical to me because on one hand, they'll say, "Oh, the welfare queens are gonna the alt-right's gonna yell about the welfare queens." Well, you're making welfare queens by forcing them to have children. You're making those welfare queens. What do you think is going to happen when you put discontent parents together? Well, they're going to get a divorce, and the female is going to go on welfare. and then we're going to have more welfare queens. That's all that this thing, anti-abortion, people are making more welfare queens, but they're happy to give your money away, and they're happy to raise your taxes as long as the rich don't have to pay for that. They're happy. I know that's such a fucking centrist opinion, isn't it? I am the ultimate centrist. But that's how that's going to work out, because gynocentrism. I say, well, go all the way with it. Go all the way to Libby land with that. We could just do away with the family courts. We can do away with everything, and then we can do away with marriage, and then they can get pregnant, and we'll just put them in there. We'll just, all this men we're pre-cucked anyways. We'll just build those high rises and put them in high rises, baby mama storage areas and man-free zones. That's what they have in England: man-free zones, baby mama storage areas. Looks good on the outside, but when you dig, it's a mess. Exactly. Men have to lead, not both men and women. Yeah, so the only way to end that problem is to give men the right to abort, and then the legs will magically close. If there's no money in back of it, if there's no, I can get a man to be a slave for 18 to 24, 26 years, and depending on if I can get pregnant again, I can get a slave for 30 years. That's a pretty good deal. Everybody wants a slave. I mean, hell, if I could have someone paying my bills for me and forced by the government, I wouldn't want to give up that gift either. And no, they don't want to give it up, but that's the hypocrisy of femininity. They want to be strong, independent girls that are accountable for their own lives and have agency, but they want men to pay for their lives and take care of that. So to make it a real soft agency, such a real soft strongness, soft strongness. That's absurdity. Say that to yourself: soft strongness. Yeah, no, we want them to be totally responsible. Giving men the right to abort would make them totally responsible. If that's your body, your choice, I can't have a baby, only you can. I'll agree with that 100%. It's your kids. How do I know it's your kids? Because men can get it taken away like that. There's no such thing as fatherhood because it's so easily removed. If there was such a thing as it, if it was a thing, like Kierkegaard would say, it wouldn't be so easily removed like that in a heartbeat in a court. So it's a lie. It's another lie. But men are used to being lied to. Matter of fact, a lot of them like to be lied to as long as they hear it in a female voice. And that's gynocentrism. And we have simps, white knights, beggars, cackling hyenas. They'll sign up for those positions. You know why? The V. They get to stick it in that. That's the most important thing in your life. Such low caliber people that would be the most important thing in their lives. And it is. I see simps in the bars from 18 to 70. 18 to 70 talking about it all day long like it's some magic thing. It's magic. It's the best thing that ever happened to them. That's what was told. No, for a lot of men, it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing that will ever happen to you. And being forced to be a father, that sucks. If you didn't want to be a father, you make a horrible father. Yeah, they think they're going to getting the V. They would do anything for it. We have names for those men for a reason. Since the beginning of Mgtow, we created names for those men because we identified that, hey, this just isn't a female problem. This is a male problem too. The way men think, will reach out to them and try to change that thinking. But I'm beginning to think that that's you can't change men's thinking when they think like that. That's like a political position. You try to change someone's mind on a political position, they're not going to change their mind. They've got their special political position. I say, come to the center and listen and make your own opinions on that. But no, we got the far right ridiculousness. You know what I just watched? I stole it. I was watching a movie before this, the new Bill Murray zombie movie. I can't remember what it's called now. The Dead Never Die. If you guys get to see it, it's pretty funny. It's got a great cast in it. The Bill at the end, yes, comes to visit PA and enjoy the summer humidity. Yeah, Phil. Oh yeah. It was humid. It's a humid around here. I just let Dougie out. He was in the air conditioning most of the day. 78 felt like 100, and but I just got in from my bike ride. I was out riding around in the dark on my bike. How unsafe can I be with a black shirt on? I talk about risk all the time, and then I go out and at 11 o'clock at night to take a bike ride just to look around the neighborhood and see what's happening. Late night party. Woo! We're all here. Hello, everybody. We're just having a late night party. Hey, if anybody wants to come in and talk, I'll put the hangout link in I'll copy it and paste it and put it in. That's what I was just up. I'm up and there we go. I'll just put that there. If you want to come in and talk, you can come in and talk and do a late night party with Mgtow. I know a lot of Mgtows stay up late. I know a lot of Mgtows have sleep problems. There's a portion of us that don't sleep very well sometimes. And just Mgtow ruminations. Hey, bros. You guys are using a lot of swear words. They're making me the YouTube's making me approve all the messages now. Some of the words that Mgtow or YouTube makes me approve, I just wonder sometimes. If I was retired, I would be there, Joe. If I was, I would be there. We want whiskey. Okay, yeah, whiskey coming. I put it up there if you want, guys. But otherwise, you would just hear me mumble on for a while. I don't really have a topic. Everybody knows the topic of gynocentrism, but I think with the young guys, it's important for us older guys that have been around for a while and Mgtow to explain it right. I think they get it a little wrong. Gynocentrism being the propensity of a male. We always talk about males in here. We talk about men. We don't care what the women are doing. The propensity of males to err on the side of a female. And they're like, no, gynocentrism, isn't that what feminists do? And then they start talking about feminists. I'm like, no, no, you got it all wrong. You're bringing females into it. You have to have them in it. That's gynocentrism. I don't know if they understand that. Every law that was ever made was made in consideration of the female. I wonder if that's true. All roads lead back to Mgtow. So every law ever made was made in consideration of female, and that's how gynocentrism works. I'd have to do some law research one day and just kind of go through it and just kind of think about it. Like, yeah, maybe that could be true. Most of the laws are made in consideration of female, communal property, communities. Why we do communal things, and that's all sexual cryptis. If you didn't know that, it is sexual cryptis. Is why we have communities. It's why we have health and human services. It's why we have everything. It's why we build buildings. Why men do those things. Sexual cryptis. Everybody thinks it's their baby. All men think it's their baby. It's instilled in us, in our DNA. We have to shed that. I think we will. I think that's what Mgtow's about. A whole new awakening. Work will allow me to afford my hobbies. I was going to start a new hobby this summer. I discussed it with my friend today. He says I'm crazy. I was going to start a algae pond, or an algae, probably about a foot, about this deep. I want an algae area in my backyard, and start growing algae. I think algae is the next big thing in biodegradable fuels and carbon. Reclaiming carbon and algae. People need to know more about algae and everything. They could take algae farms and make a feed for animals too. It's really interesting stuff. So I was going to start an algae pond if my city will allow it. I have to run it through the city and get approval to start an algae pond. I just wanted about a 10 by 12 foot area so I could start growing algae and then get in my garage and do hobby like things with it to see exactly what it does do with you can make biofuels out of algae. Sleeping rather in this stupid pile of shoes and crap. Yeah. Doing is serving. Yeah. Yeah, nice. So that's going to be my project for the summer. I always mean to ask Barbarossa how his nitrogen project's working, and how he's reclaiming the nitrogen from his fish and that stuff, because I was interested in doing that. And you grow fish and you reclaim the nitrogen from it and from the water, and that makes fertilizer to grow the garden. And or you can use it for other things like explosives. I don't think we're allowed to say that on YouTube anymore. Garchamp, do you collect shotguns? Shotguns are cool. I wanted to make I wanted to get the lower receiver for a 410 and then I wanted to build one of those automatic shotguns with the big 60 chamber row thing. I think that would be so cool. It'd just be so cool. A 410 with 60 shots. Fully auto. I don't think it's legal in my state. I think the anti-gun people would have a fit if they knew I owned a fully auto 410 with 60 shots. But I was going to buy the lower receiver for it and start working on it. And this reproduction, a world will ghetto. Yeah, mindless reproduction, a world full of ghetto dwellers. They're the breeders. That's all they think about is breeding. Every second of the day, they can't get off their mind. God, thank God for men that have put that away in their lives, like Tesla, or we would have nothing in this world. Except for a bunch of mindless breeders. We'd have all sorts of different kinds of washing machines. They'll invent a washing machine when a woman wants one. How many different kinds of kitchen utensils to cook a steak with? We'd have millions of them if it was. I'll be right back. I gotta get a pack of cigarettes. I brought my wrong pack in here. Oh, hell. Oh, so it's Thursday night already. I couldn't believe it was Thursday night already. I was like, fuck, where's the week go? I was going to watch an interesting video today on why time seems to go faster when you're a male, when you get older as a male. And but I never watched that. It would be interesting to know why it seems like time goes faster. We are slaves to our sexuality. Yeah. Yes, we are. Unfortunately, there's a chemical. There, I bet there would be a chemical, answer to that problem to slow down men's sexuality. You know, I mean, saltpeter will do it, but they've made that illegal. That's what they used to do to men in the army. They give them saltpeter. Of course, they fed them horse meat too, but I guess horse meat's pretty good. Uh, but saltpeter, yeah. But I do think there's a chemical they should start marketing. You know, want to reduce your sexual urges? You know, take Paxil. That is true too. Then you get impacted bowels with Paxil and screw up your serotonin levels. How do you mess with your hormone system? It's not worth it. Yeah, I think if you could reduce your desire, I think it would have to do a lot with desire. What you know, turn off that section of the male brain that has to do with desire that makes him go like that every time a woman walks by and then does a cat call. That was funny. I still haven't got that video. I was going to put that up of the young man the other day. He started peacocking and doing a cat call when I pulled up on my bike. I was going to put, but I didn't think it would be fair to him. I was just laughing, and it was in front of the convenience store. All the young boys hang out in front of the convenience store and torture the girls as they walk out. It's going to get worse now too. Spring's here. I haven't seen much of them walking around with their Daisy Dukes on and that stuff. We've seen a couple the other day. They were getting in a car. They look like two single baby mamas, and they had their summer come fuck me's on, and and there was two baby seats in the back, and then me and my buddy just kind of looked at each other, and those two are up to no good. Some poor boy is going to run into that. Then they're going to need a third baby seat in the back there. That was so ominous. It was just one of those ominous things you see. They're getting into the front. There was two baby seats in the back. I was like, oh God, some poor man will be paying for that. Without grounding and a central belief there is no eternal or no life beyond pure hedonism. Prove me wrong. Yeah, you could choose hedonism. Most people do choose hedonism. I think that's what Mgtow gives us. Is it gives us a philosophy that replaces another hedonistic philosophy, which is Christianity. Christianity is pure sexual hedonism. They think God watches them at the end of their bed, like cheers that on. God's like, woo, hit that, stick it hard. It's like, we got permission from God to do that. It's funny how they include that into their religion. You got to get married to have sex. It's like, and then when you get married in Christianity, and then you could just be hedonistic and just abuse each other at night. It's like, no wonder they get hooked. It's like a drug. They get hooked on it. Christianity, yeah. Following worship others is immature. It's an immature answer for everything, I suppose. You can always Jesus told me to do it. I love the I love the climate deniers. The climate deniers just crack me up. They're like, Jesus is going to come back after we destroy the world with our self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what that is. They're gonna. Ah, man, climate. Yeah, that's a big issue nowadays. It's hard to measure those things. Now, how many hurricanes are we going to have this season, and how many tornadoes? We had a tornado here the other day. It's slightly south of me in Dayton. I was wondering if we're going to get one. The last tornado we had in my town was 1918. It took the top of the Lorraine movie theater off, and it came through, and then it seemed to come through town, and it took the top of the school off. It's funny how it targeted those two places. Uh, yeah, it destroyed the movie theater, the one thing we had going in this town. You deny climate there. Like Trav calls it, magical thinking. Magic. There's a lot of magical thinking that goes around with men. Yeah, tornadoes everywhere. If we get a tornado here, I'll just start like, jeez. Did you see some of the pictures of those tornadoes too? They were really. I was going to put up some when I get this thing. Actually, 4 more days, and I get to move everything into the back room, and then I can get my studio working here. I'm waiting for parts and pieces, and I'm waiting for them to redo my cable on my house so I can get Ethernet in the back room. Yeah. So I can do that. But climate's interesting. Big arguments on climate control. I can't wait to see the hurricanes this year. Does anybody want to do any bets what kind of hurricanes we're going to have this year? Last year was a bad season. It seems like every week there was a hurricane. But I was questioning that the other day when I was watching the news. Is it that we have more foul weather, or is it we have news that makes it more hyperbolic when we do have foul weather? You can't turn on the news anymore without hyperbole. I was reading a thing. They found the bones of a 5-year-old child that the cousin, I think, or the brother-in-law or something had killed. And I was looking for the gynocentrism in there, and then I noticed the hyperbole in the writing, and the way they were describing the 5-year little girl. You think she was you would just think that she was just the most magic person that was ever born. And I was like, hey, at that age, they're playful and creative. Yeah, that's what you could say about them. No, they were using words like she cared so much about others. And I was thinking, come on, you're pushing it. But that's the press nowadays. I mean, 5-year-olds are anything but altruistic. Five-year-olds are not altruistic. Maybe they're creative. Maybe they're fun. Maybe they're impetuous. But creative, and they cared so much about others was pushing it. But so I was looking at all the hyperbole statements in the news, and that was interesting. It was do it someday. Just look for all the statements that are slightly like making mountains out of molehills. And you'll see gynocentric in that, the gynocentrism in that, and how they portray men in the press. But man-woman myth often talked about how they portray men when in the news, comparatively the special angels, how they portray the special angels, that anything that go wrong. And she was a special angel. She cared so much about humanity, They're all special angels. No. Myth that is The world operates on it. It's incredible, not facts. Myths are interesting. There was that argument a few years ago. I think we were having about men wanted to, and the myths and heroes that the Beowulfs, and whether it's good for men or whether it's bad for men. You can read a whole bunch on online about myths and myths we give boys. Back in the days, myths were purposeful. Don't wander off into the woods if you're children, you'll get eaten by a wolf. And then they made up a story about it, to tell children, if you go wandering off into the woods, you will get eaten by a wolf. And if you go off into the snow in Ohio, a cold Ohio night, you will freeze to death. I mean, those stories are well intended. The Grimm's tales. There's always have some well intended message behind that. In the 1700s, where things were dangerous, there were bears in the woods, and we were occupying new lands. But as dangerous as it was in the early West, we don't hear a lot of stories about don't go out and you might be savagely attacked by Indians. Yeah, lies are factual untruths. uh, I'm 5 and care so very deeply and cared so very deeply. Yeah, they did that, Phil. The hyperbole on this, the 5-year-old that cared so very deeply. You think she was Mother Teresa after you got done, and she was just a 5-year-old. I could use words. If I was the editor, I would say, no, don't do that. You would use words like, and she was, she was curious about life and stuff like that. And I would describe a 5-year-old. She was joyous, and she was curious about life. She wasn't curing she wasn't curing gonorrhea. Yeah, I mean, uh, yes, the little 5-year-old was curing gonorrhea. She was working on the cure for cancer at 5 years old. I find that to be a little that's hyperbole in action. It bothers me. But if you look in the news, that's the kind of wording that they use for everything now. And that's what I was kind of getting at with the weather nowadays. Now, when we had the big hurricane come through last year, that one weatherman, he was caught doing a fake scene, and it's like he was pretending like he was blowing away, and then a couple guys ran by. They were looting something, and they were just looking at him like look at that guy in the background. He's not getting blown away at all. He's just looting. And then the weatherman was just pretending like the wind was so harsh that he was going to get lifted off of his feet. That's why I'm hoping there's a tornado here, because I want to try that. I want to just run out and just try to see if it'll lift me off my feet. I want to just get on my bike and drive towards it, and because I want to get that on video. Oh man, life is devil. Let me see my notices. Google wants me to share everything with all my friends. Some of these notices that I get, it's like, especially on my phone, it's like, Joe, don't you want to engage in the interesting, funny news? And I was like, no, I don't want you sending me notices. He needs a company host. Yeah, really, the devil is in the details. That's true, I suppose. I was having an interesting discussion about religion the other day with a religious person, and I says, "Well, Jesus was kind of into reincarnation, because he kind of never specified, that 3-day coming back thing. It's like, so could you please explain that one to me? Because he never kind of specified if you're supposed to be that and emulate that person, then in 3 days you will come back as another person. And please specify. But yeah, so Christianity, if you reinterpret, I was going to do that. I was just going to, okay, if I sit down and I reinterpret everything, like if I did Descartesism and took everything off the table and then sit and reinterpret it, what would I get from a Mgtow point of view? That would be funny. Caesar Messiah, book Caesar Messiah. Is that a suggestion, Steve? But to ignore politics entirely, best to ignore. Yeah, it's best to try to ignore that stuff, because they're crazy on both sides and they got that shit going on. My buddy asked me, I says, I'm just so hoping they fight. It's like Antifa against the Proud Boys, because that would just be so cool to watch from the Mgtow bench. I would just sit back and watch with some popcorn and like laugh. I'd be screaming from the curb. Is it everything you thought it was going to be? I hope it's fulfilling. Oh, but it is crazy. There's so much hyperbole in politics. I hate that when they do that. They do it on both sides. I just hate when they do it, and it's like, so I got to do that project with the Bible, sit down and just take everything off the table and just interpret it the way I see it, is from a Mgtow point of view, and see if it comes out to be the same story. Oh. Because what would an alien, if he came down, think? And he read that and he would go like, no, this means something different to me. And yeah, fear mongering. You got to keep the masses fearful. Imagine if every man in America wasn't fearful. Yeah, things would change real quick. So many people I talk to when I talk sometimes, I think even with our friend Global Man, so many people are fearful. They get kicked off of YouTube for saying the simplest little things. It's like, what if men were fearless and weren't so fearful? What if they didn't believe that the government drones were gonna come and bomb your house? If you, I was told that by somebody in real life. I was like, yeah, we just gotta, fight for our freedom and continue fighting for our freedom as men until we get male freedom in this country. And he said, oh no, Joe, the drones will come. They'll drone bomb your house. And I was like, oh man, I just don't think I'm that important enough to send drone bombs to my house. I've seen that with a female too. I was working at Mobile Oil back in the days, and she was so scared. She was so scared of everything. It was back when, oh God, it was back before 9/11 and everything, and pre 9/11, and we were having problems with, I can't remember what it was, and she thought that some other country was going to come over and bomb our special little area canning oil. It's like, I can't remember what her job was there. Just go back to your job. No one's going to come and bomb us. And but she was so scared about that. My mother used to do that too. Fear of what, she'd watch TV, and then she'd watch those she'd watch those CSI shows with the rape ones, where every episode a different girl gets raped, and then they catch the guy, and then it's like, we caught him, we caught the rapist, and they wonder why women are running around, and they all think they're going to get raped. I mean, after years and years of saturation by CSI, where every episode's like rapist, a man rapist, and a murderer, and they're everywhere. And there's like probably 6 of them on your street. Jesus Christ. They get so fearful about that stuff. And the real statistics on rape, if you do it yourself, you just do it yourself and go to the FBI or DOJ statistics and see how many were prosecuted, divide that by the adult population in our country, and that's 1 in 160,000. You'll probably never meet a real rapist in your life. It's 1 in 160,000. It is. But even after all that CSI Fairmount, what was the numbers, Phil? Phil, it was 1 in 4 girls will get raped. It's like, whatever, that's ridiculous. I don't know one that ever. But if you keep pumping that out, you can keep the masses, the girls, really afraid that every guy she's going to meet is going to rape her, and it's just cruel, and it's cruel. It is cruel. I was at that time. I would ask the question: when does the news become terrorism? I mean, when does the news qualify as terrorists? Making people fearful of everything. It's just fear all day pumped on people. And I suppose the biggest terrorists are the news. Why don't you have a happy story once in a while? Dog saves child from falling in pond and drowning. Sexual cryptis is so critical to understanding, and so few do. Yeah, we're not allowed to know that, Phil. We're just not allowed to know that. You're not allowed to teach the boys about reality. The last video I got taken down was general information about bacteria and how bacteria affects your your thinking. And you're in love, you what turns it on, what turns it off, and what turns on those areas of the brain. And it's pheromones. Pheromones are what? Pheromones are dead bacteria, and I used the word paracesis. It's a paracesis is what it is, and it turns on. You start acting funny. You start feeling you're in love, and that sinking feeling in your heart. Bacteria attaches to the walls of your valves, and it feels like you're you're in love, and that's why the heart wants what the heart wants, and them sayings, and there's some second metaphysical heart inside of your chest, and it's behind the other heart that pumps blood, but that one doesn't matter because there's a second metaphysical heart, and that's the feeling you get when you're in love. And that's simply because the bacteria collects to the walls of the heart. And it's trying to explain bacterial paracesis. Females carry 300% more than men. And anytime you swap spit, you will start getting a funny feeling in your brain. Why? Because you just took on a large amount of pheromones from another person, which is bacteria. And I wasn't allowed to say that, so they took me down and wouldn't let me podcast for, even though it's 100% truth. The truth is, and I put the, you know what they did? I noticed an interesting thing. What YouTube did, I put all the NCB and the clinical files that you can go to and read it if you wanted to read about those things, but they erased them from my low bar. And then they took it, and like 2 weeks later, they took down and then gave me a strike and wouldn't let me talk to people for 6 months or 3 months. I wasn't allowed to talk to people because I was telling the truth on YouTube. That was funny. I thought that was the epitome of gynocentrism in my and it's like I'm not allowed to tell people the truth or they will censor me. Jesus. Crazy, crazy world we live in. It's totally absurd. Yeah, yeah, Phil, that's good news because with all that information that they get from from feminists, from fearful people from watching CSI, it's like, oh, men only rape 1 out of every 5 women. So I was watching a video seconds ago, and a woman says that it's easier. It says that it's the easiest way a woman can be rich is to marry a rich man and then divorce him. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's how most. That's you know, it's hypergamy. Moving on up to the rich guys. They should do a male. A male sitcom and call it hypergamy, moving on up, and then play the Jefferson song. And just have different episodes of how women move up through society. You can sleep your way to the casting couch. That's funny with Harvey Weinstein. It's like Harvey took advantage of the casting couch, and then that came by but you have to be willing. You can't rape the willing. That's what I was, the question was, but they're gonna put him in jail probably. They did to Bill Cosby. But that's just how it, you want to move on up. Everybody knows about hypergamy, but not allowed to say that. Not allowed to say that, even though it's true. Facts will, yeah, facts will be censored and sweets will be continue to taste good. Everybody likes chocolate. Buy some for your sweetie. Sweethearts Day. When is that? Was that passed already? We had all those days. It's Father's Day this month, isn't it? We're gonna get a big hoopla about Father's Day, and everybody's gonna come over and shower men with gifts. Hope I get a new car this year. You think I'll get my new car? I was hoping on a Porsche. Last year I only got one of those. I only got a fucking Datsun. Watching it. All in the Family. That was a good one. Yeah. All in the Family. Archie Bunker. I haven't watched it in a while. I started watching an old Cagney film last night. I was just kind of drifting off, so I put on an old Cagney film. It was interesting to watch how they believe what they believed in that time. The 70s were different, and 60s were much different. I think my favorite is reruns of Al Bundy, and that one, yeah, yeah. You can get those on YouTube nonstop every day. Facts will continue to be sound. I love watching. Yeah, yeah. So I'm running out of steam here, and I got to get Dougie inside. I still have a blind, deaf dog, and he does horrible things if I don't watch him. I tell everybody that now. It's like, by the way, I'm such a good person that I take care of a blind, deaf dog that I rescued. Pat myself on the back. So I think I'm going to end this thing. No, ma'am. That's what I was trying to think of. No, ma'am. I'm a little fuzzy tonight. No, ma'am. I love those episodes. Bunday. I watched the one when he was doing the church the other day. That was funny. And then there's always this, you know, his best scenes. So I think I'm going to end this thing and get on my way. It's 1:36. I got to get some sleep and get Dougie in, get him all tucked down. I washed his blankets for him today, and he'll have a nice snug bed. And I put him in, and he needs another bath. He was out rolling in the mud today again, and he does that. He likes that a lot, too much. So I'm going to end this thing, and gynocentrism, it's not so hard to understand. It's the propensity for males, all males, and you see it around you see it around Mgtow a lot. Gynocentrism, they air everything through the female filter everything through the female, and it gets old, and you can see it in the news, and you can see it everywhere once you understand what it is. But it's our job as the older Mgtows to try to explain to the young guys what gynocentrism is, because they do filter everything through the female. They want to hear it from the mother's voice. Nothing's real unless it comes from the mother's voice, and everything in the world has to do with females. And they can't get that off their mind. And I wish they'd invent a pill for that, but until then, we're going to have to deal with it as men, and it will get most of them in trouble. Yeah, I'm going to go take care of my dog. I got to carry him in because he's blind. He's deaf. It's funny watching him sometimes. He does the craziest things. He goes in circles. Dougie goes around in circles, and he'll walk in circles. And then I have to like grab him and like, stop. You're driving me crazy. And get him laid down and get him fed and do them things for him that he needs done. Dougie's my child now. He's like a baby. He's my baby. I get to clean up after him and do all those things that make me human. But that's the great thing about a pet. God is the smile on a dog. When a dog smiles at you, you can see your humanity in them. And that's the closest to humanity you'll ever see, I suppose. I'm going to put up the philosophy behind that one of these days. It was out of Berkeley in the early 70s. God is the smile on a dog. It's casual cruelty is what we're talking about in Albert Schweitzer. But until then, I think I'm going to get going. I'm going to try to get some sleep tonight. And my pain pills kicking in. My knees were just aching after the bike ride. And I think that's what kept me up. And I'm going to go and try to enjoy a good night's sleep. And I hope you're all having a good life. And I hope Mgtow's working out for you. And if it isn't, if Mgtow's not working out for you, change your Mgtow a little. And see how that works. And I hope you're all having a great life. And most of all, man, thanks for coming around. Thanks for doing your part in Mgtow and spreading the word. We can save these boys and save these men from a horrible fate called marriage and slavery. If we all just do our parts. And with that, most of all, men, thanks for being Mgtow. Mgtows.